Hi there guys, how you doing? Brand new live stream setup. So this should be pretty good fun. I did say maybe a month and a half ago that I was going to do these regularly, but what I wanted to do is get this really, really well set up. So welcome to this new series of live stream, guys. You can see I'm going full on with like all the graphics and everything. So let me say a few highs. This monitor over here, I'm reading the chat is doing some weird stuff, so apologies for that. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. You should find, who cares about the guys who are doing thumbs down? So, Mr. Fee Ngyun, welcome. Ninja Bread, 3 Mariano 3, Ninja Bread again. Ingvi Malmsteen apparently is watching. The Ask 3R, Bryant Lamar, Dennis Danko, Graham Williams. There's so many of you guys. Andrej, I don't know any Russian songs, I'm afraid, sorry. Pavlaru, so many of you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So brand new live streams, doing things a little bit differently. I have the ability to do a few different things here. So you guys can see along the bottom here, anybody who follows, subscribes, if you want to donate, feel free. I'm only bringing that in there because it's down on the bottom there. Nobody needs to donate, absolutely not. But if you want to do, we've got if you really want a question answered, we've got the top chat at the top, the super chat, so you can do that as well. That's all right. I am shredded, dude, because my daughter's not sleeping very well at the moment. So I'm very, very tired indeed. Which is actually one of the reasons, one of the things I'm going to do today, because I need to really get some practice in because I'm doing Guitar Retreat Spain next week and I haven't really had any chance to play. So I'm going to be doing some practice today. So it's going to be a full-on practice stream, guys, which might be interesting to some of you guys. There's no way I'm going to get through all this chat. So, how am I, Steve Ozone? I'm doing really well, thank you. I am extremely tired and run down, just very, very busy. Trollstjern, how you doing? Rob van der Velde, nice to see some familiar names here. What's this? It's for playing driving games. I'm a big fan, big fan. I'm a gamer, so yeah, that's what I do as well. Nice to see you guys. So let me know if you can hear the guitar okay. As I say, down the bottom there, I'm just going to grab the mouse, it's all over here. Down the bottom there, you'll see, if you want to, guys, if you want to support the stream, I'm going to be doing regular streams here. You guys can support the stream by donating if you want to. Or, you know, nobody needs to do that. It's not an obligation at all, guys. Please feel free. If you don't want to do that, please feel free not to. You can also do, as I say, the super chat. Other than that, just enjoy, have a chat, get involved. James Abraham, hi on Twitch. I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Now, you may find, I'm not sure if this is still the same. It used to be the case that YouTube would always be in mono and Twitch would be in stereo. Now, you guys will be able to tell me how it sounds. So whether it sounds stereo or mono in YouTube. So guys, I'm going to try and get to your questions, but I'm really going to do a practice stream today as well because I really need the practice. So I'll see what I can do. But tell me if the sound is all right. So you should find that when I'm playing, you can't hear me talk. I've ducked out the mics. I should all be working. Oh, I'm glad it sounds great, Michael50. Nice to see you on Twitch there. Twitch always gets less viewers because for guitar players, it's not such a big thing, but I'd like to get some of you guys watching on Twitch. Right. First thing I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to try and scroll back through your chat and through your questions after this, but I have to do some practice. So one of the ways that I like to practice, some guys are asking about legato stuff. Turn up the guitar compared to the voice. If I turn the guitar up any more, it's going to start clipping. So what I will do is, okay. Bora 088811 in the super chat. What string gauge do I use? Okay, this kind of a guitar. Thank you very much for the donation. On this kind of a guitar, I use 10 to 46, standard kind of gauge. So I use these strings. Let me show you. That is what I use. Come on, camera, focus. Get it in front of my face. It should focus for you guys. There we go. So I use those, awesome strings, really, really good. On my jazz guitars, I use, thank you very much, Bryant Lamar. That's very kind of you indeed. Very, very kind. Sorry, guys, they were the 11 to 49s. So I use the 11 to 49 on my jazz guitars. These are the ones I use on my standard guitars. So there we go, 10 to 46 NYXLs. They are awesome, really, really good strings. So yeah, those are the ones I use. So 10 to 46 on standard kind of guitars, like my Ibanez AZs, the RG that I have over there, which I can play for you guys if you want as well. I've got a whole selection of Ibanez guitars I can play for you. But the jazz guitar, I've got an AS103, I use 11 to 49s on. So that's the way that works. So what I'm going to do, one of the ways I like to practice is to use a program called Stylus Rmx, which is made by a company called Spectrasonics. And I don't have a de-esser on this microphone. So every time I say Stylus Spectrasonics, you're going to get loads of S's. Now, the cool thing about using Stylus Rmx is it's got loads of different drum beats built in, and it's just drum beats. So just to give you a quick example, if I play this now, it's got some great break beats in there, and I like to use break beats because they've got lots of rhythmic information and they're fun to play over. And what I will do, the guitar should be tuned to 440, yeah. Yeah, it should be. I tuned it beforehand. I'm using the AXFX3 for everything, so yeah. So I like to just basically run legato phrases, or actually work on time field generally with this stuff using Stylus Rmx. And what I'll do is I'll ramp in between. Spectrasonics is amazing. Yeah, you're right, Eski. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll ramp between this kind of tempo, which I've got here, which I can't remember exactly what the tempo is. Let me have a look. This tempo is okay, so just a basic 120, the default that comes on when you turn Stylus Rmx on. Then I'll ramp it right up to about 180 to 200 for drum and bass kind of sounds. And I'm just going to basically practice in that way. Now, this is probably going to be pretty ropey to start with because I haven't played properly for quite a while and I haven't practiced. And I need to practice, as I say, because I'm doing Guitar Retreat Spain next week. So that's part of what this is about. That's all right, Brian. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine. Not a problem at all. Thank you very much indeed. Anyway, hi Stacey. Hi Stacey. So I'm just going to play along with this, and I'm going to play constant streams of notes. I might put a little bit of rhythmic information in, but I'm just going to pick a. Sounds like I'm using the PlayStation for the effects. Yeah, probably. Well, no. I wish there was one in here. We've got the steering wheel. But I have this insane, you can see this gaming PC down here. This is actually my main PC I use. It's actually a video editing PC, but it has an NVIDIA 2080 Ti in it and a Ryzen 3900X and 32 gig of RAM. So it's a pretty hardcore gaming machine as well. So this would be the kind of thing I would practice. So to answer Daniel's question, Daniel Waldrop has asked, are you going through pre-decided progressions or just wing it? There, essentially, some of you guys might have been able to tell, I was essentially just thinking E minor as a 2 chord, so E Dorian. And in the end, I did actually play effectively a 2-5-1. So I played E minor 7, actually E minor 9 here, to A, I've got to be careful because you can't hear me when I'm playing. So E minor 9 to A7 to D major 7. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll just play with a single kind of harmonic area in mind. So literally just a mode, if you like, not even a progression. And all I'm trying to do, I'm not making any value judgments as to the quality of the line that I'm playing. If you guys like the lines, that's awesome. But that's not the point of this exercise. The point is to stay in time as much as possible. Now what I'll do after that, and I'll do a little bit more of this, but what I'll do after that is I will select another beat. And I think this monitor on here is about to die. So I'll just let this ramp up because this is running off an external hard drive and it takes a minute just to, there we go. So let's go for this one that says drum and beat. And what I'm going to do, if you haven't checked out Stylus Rmx, you really should, it's amazing. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Alberto. So we'll set this to around 180. Now we get this. Now the cool thing about doing this is, so we've upped the tempo by 60 BPM and we've gone for a really classic kind of drum and bass sound, is that the rhythmic information here is so precise, those 16th notes, I can really tell how on it, I can't even speak now, that's how kind of wasted I am, how on it I am in terms of placement of those 16th notes and how good my stamina is and how good the quality of the left-hand control is, which at the moment is not that good. Because as I say, I haven't really been playing a lot recently and I've got general kind of tiredness in my left hand. It's a little bit weak at the moment because I just don't get so much time to play. Yeah, jungle, exactly. It's kind of like playing jungle shred. Matsiati, what games do I like to play? Asking on Twitch. So I'm a big Dark Souls fan. I like Dark Souls. Sekiro I just finished about a month ago. I'm playing a few RPG games like isometric top-down RPGs like Pillars of Eternity, those kind of games. So that's kind of what I like to do. And also, as you can see, big fan of driving games. So I do a lot of Assetto Corsa and those kind of games as well, on VR especially. So I'm a big geek when it comes to that stuff. So now let me do the same thing, but 100, I can't remember what I said, 170 I think it was, or 180. So you get the idea. No one wants to listen to that for very long, but you get the idea. So, Bora, I will come on to your question in a second, I promise. Thank you very much for the donation there through Super Chat. By the way, guys, if you really want a question answered, you can do what Bora's done. And if you've just joined the stream, you can use the Super Chat below. And I get guarantees that I see it because it's really hard to keep an eye on all the chat here, especially because we've got Twitch going at the same time. So feel free. I will try and come back in a minute and answer some of the other questions though. So you absolutely don't have to donate. Okay, so Bora, I recently learned mode scales, but I don't know how to improvise. Okay, improvisation is all about vocabulary. And one of the things, this sounds like a little bit of a cop-out, but it really isn't meant to be. Unless you know what the style of music you're trying to play is supposed to sound like in your head and you have that language and vocabulary going around in your mind, you can't really start to improvise in any kind of meaningful way. So the first thing is, it's one thing to know your scales and know your mode. Thank you very much. I'll get onto your question in a second. It's one thing to know your scales and modes physically on the fretboard, but you also need to be able to you don't need to necessarily be able to hear ideas to play those ideas, but you have to have some idea of what the music that you're playing is supposed to sound like. So, if you're into Greg Howe, for instance, you need to listen to lots of Greg Howe and listen to how he uses harmony and how he uses modes. But you can really, if you know the scales on the fretboard, you can set yourself up with very simple harmonic situations and just allow yourself to play. But the biggest problem that a lot of people that I've taught come across is they know the fretboard, but they haven't got any vocabulary. You guys are going to tell me in a minute to mute that sound. I just know you are. Sorry about that, because it's probably cutting out my voice at the same time as well, so I'll figure that out later. Sorry, Fee. If you've got another question, stick it down and I'll ask it. Do that one for free. Thank you very much, Fabian. So what I would recommend is that you set yourself up with very simple rhythmic ideas over a very simple harmonic idea. So for instance, if you've got E minor, which is what I was doing earlier, set yourself up with an E minor 7 chord. Maybe you then come up with just a 4-note phrase. So maybe you go dum, da, da, dum, dum, da, da, dum, dum, da, da, dum. Very simple phrase. And then you take the scale that you've learnt and you attempt to move it around, you know, manipulate that rhythmic phrase using the notes that you've learnt. So for instance, I haven't got a looper here, unfortunately. I do have the Axe effects, but I don't have the floor unit for it. But say our rhythmic device was that, dum, da, da, dum. And you know the E Dorian scale here. Take that rhythmic piece of information and all over the fretboard as much as you possibly can, or even in a confined space, try and utilize that piece of information. So, oh, sorry. And I'm just keeping things incredibly simple, but when you do things like that, what you're doing is you are manipulating the harmonic information or the scale on the fretboard in a musical way. Because one of the problems people have is when they know a scale, they tend to run up and down that scale and play things that are very obvious. They get stuck in that box. But if you've got a very simple rhythmic device, it forces you to be more creative, and it allows you to play more creatively as well, because technically that's not a particularly difficult thing to pull off. So it's a really useful skill to have. So I would recommend starting there. And if you can't think of any rhythms, if you find yourself kind of stuck for thinking of simple basic rhythms, just look to like TV theme, even nursery rhymes. Thank you, Amit Chatterjee, for subscribing. Thank you so much. Just look for basic nursery rhymes. So if you did like the beginning of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, just improvise with that phrase in E Dorian. Anything like that's going to work really, really well. So let me get on to Fee's question. I hope that helped, Bora. On the sextuplet legato bits, let me just get rid of Stylus Rmx a second. I saw something that looked like hybrid picking. Yes, it was hybrid picking. Can you briefly explain what you're doing? Yes. I have a system where I try to move my right hand as little as possible, because in doing so, I minimize the dynamics in my right hand. What I find is if I do big movements, I do big pick attacks, and I don't want big pick attack sounds, large dynamic changes, because I want my sound for legato to be very smooth, almost like I've got an old a Korg monologue here, like an analog synth. And the really early analog synths, they didn't have any dynamic changes as you hit the key harder, what they call velocity. It didn't get louder or softer. It was all one velocity or one dynamic. And when I play legato, I want my dynamic range to be very limited, so because I want it to sound very smooth. So when I play this, it's very even dynamically, you know, so that's the kind of thing I'm going for. Now, because of that, what I find is if I use hybrid picking to change strings in very specific ways, and I'll try and explain how in a second, I get a much more even attack. So that kind of helps me rather than moving my pick a lot. If I do the same thing without using the hybrid picking, A, it's much harder for me, and B, I get a little bit less dynamic consistency. I can't do it, it's just impossible. So the kind of rule, it's sort of a rule, it's not the only rule, but what I tend to find is if I do more than one thing on a single string, so for instance, if I pick and do 2 hammer-ons, I use the pick for the next string. So if I did this, pick, hammer, hammer, I've got time to get the pick to the next string. But if I only do one thing on that string, just the pick note, I tend to use my middle finger on the right hand for the next string, because in my kind of picking technique, the way my picking technique works, I don't have time or accuracy to get the pick to the next string because my picking sucks. So if it's one thing on a string, an example of that would be if I did this phrase, pick, hammer, hammer, then I did pick on the next string on the A string at the 5th fret. That's only one thing on that string, and then I went to the D string. I would use my middle finger for the D string. So I would go pick, hammer, hammer, pick, and then middle. And that helps me keep consistency of dynamics. So hopefully that helps. So yeah, let me do a little bit more playing over this drum and bass beat. And then if you guys think of any more questions, feel free to stick them either in the chat or in the super chat if you're desperate to get it answered straight away. And yeah, let's have a listen. So that's the idea, and I would do that for an hour, amazingly. It's really, really unmusical and boring. Although it's not boring when you're doing it, it's just boring when other people listen to it. That's staccato life. Yeah, so I'm trying to make things a little bit more interesting for myself, so I will do a little bit of rhythmic subdivision, kind of mixing up, and I'll also do the palm muting thing that you've heard me do, and some guys like Rick Graham does it, of course, as well. It's quite a common kind of popular thing at the moment to do the palm muted legato. You're just doing exactly the same thing, but you're palm muting here. I listen to everything, but kind of confused what genre to choose. Can you help? Oh, dude, that's entirely up to you. You don't have to choose a genre at all. Just go with whatever you like. It's entirely up to you. You just listen to what you want to listen to, and don't worry about what genre you are. 1 hour can feel like 15 minutes. So let me go back through some of this chat here and see what you guys have been asking. It's very small, so let me have a look. So, people asking about racing games. Yeah, I play Assetto Corsa, I play Forza Horizon 4, Forza 5, Forza Motorsport 5, no, 7, sorry, 7, Forza Motorsport 7, got brain failure. What else do I play? I have some other ones as well, but I haven't had time to play recently. I just set this up again the other day, but it's absolutely killer. So, please advise on crossing the fretboard between positions with legato. Okay, so the way I do this, now I have to sort of proceed this by saying, oh, another super chat from Bora. Thank you very much. Oh, that's cool. Thank you very much. Wow, South Korea, that's awesome. So let me explain how I do the position shifting thing, because this often confuses people. People tend to do a lot of sliding around on the fretboard, and that's cool. If you listen to a guy like George Marios, George can slide around in time all day and sound ridiculous, absolutely insane. Thank you, Igor. Thank you for subscribing. Absolutely insane. His time is unbelievable. My time is not so good when I'm sliding, especially when I slide back. It's not so good. So you won't see me do a lot of slides. What I do is I use the nature of the hand being able to compress and expand, almost like a concertina. So it's this kind of, it's probably going to focus on my face, but it's this kind of emotion, okay? Now, what that allows me to do is if I'm in a position on the fretboard, it allows me, let me see if I can come in a little bit closer here so you guys can see the fretboard a little bit better. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Hopefully it does. So here, what I can do is I can use the expansion and compression of the hand. Sorry. To move around in a much more kind of interesting way. So what I'm doing is basically I'm starting in a position, and then what I do is I move my first finger up one diatonic step on the fretboard. So my hand is in this compressed state, and then I expand it again into the next position. Then compress, expand, compress, expand, compress, expand, so on and so forth. Now, what that allows me to do, thank you, Gary Macias, for subscribing. That's very cool. Thanks to everyone who subscribed, by the way, guys. Very nice of you guys indeed. You follow all my content that's going to be coming up. I'm going to do some new lesson content as well fairly soon, as well as these live streams. So that compression and expansion allows me to move around the fretboard really nicely. And you can do it in lots of different ways. Now, I do have a whole tutorial on my website, Modern Legato Part 3, that is available. If you go to tomquayle.co.uk, you can see down here, where are we? God, it's really difficult to do that because the camera is the other way around. Down here is my website. And if you go there and click on the lessons section, you can see Modern Legato Part 3. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you for donating. That's very, very kind of you indeed. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Very kind. So if you check out tomquayle.co.uk, you can check out the lessons on there. If you go for Modern Part 3, thanks MDP for subscribing, you will find a section in that tutorial that deals with exactly this. I call them transitional fragments, and they allow you to move around the fretboard really nicely. So I'll give you a couple of examples here. So if I played... There you could see those position shifts. Hopefully you could see they were moving around in kind of a, you know, this concertina-esque kind of expansion and contraction kind of way. So that works pretty nicely. Nef PT, thank you very much. Thank you guys. So that's how that works. So let me go back and see, because there's so much chat here and I can't see it all. Do I have enough strings? Yeah, I have enough strings, definitely. Thought you'd use thicker on the jazz. Yeah, the 11 to 49 works really nicely for me. Let me plug in the AS103. Let me just make sure I don't kill your ears, guys. Thank you, Stacey. It's a great studio setup. I love it in here. It's awesome. I could do with a slightly bigger room. I won't turn the camera around and show you, but so here is the AS103. And this guitar has 11 to 49s on it, but we're on the Friedman here. So let me switch to, oops. Let me see what this is, the Superverb. I'll do. Thank you very much, Fee. Very nice. Let me have a look down, see what your super chat is. Hopefully you didn't do it twice again. What's your top 5 favourite games of all time? I should do some gaming stream. Yours are Super Mario World, Legends of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Metal Gear Solid 1, Final Fantasy X, and GTA Vice City. Okay, so for me, it's going to be really boring because it's all Dark Souls stuff. So for me, it's going to be probably the order I played them in because of the experience that I had. So most people wouldn't disagree with this, but Dark Souls 2, not because it's the best game, but because that was the first one I ever played, followed by Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and Sekiro is super up there as well. And I know that's really boring because they're all from Software, but those games just give me such a unique experience. They've kind of spoiled gaming for me because nothing else comes close at all. Not even, you know, some of the super high-end AAA games that come out from amazing studios. I am looking forward to Control fairly soon that's coming out. Remedy. I think that looks amazing. So this guitar, the amazing thing about the AS103 and these kind of archtop, well not archtop, but semi-hollow guitars in general, is how amazing they are for legato. They're absolutely insane for legato. Thank you, Tullo SD. I'm reading from a really tiny screen down here, so it's quite hard to read. They're amazing for legato. Part of the reason is they've got very flat fretboards. And also, I've said this loads of times before, but guitars with heavier gauge strings, if they're well set up, which this guitar is incredibly well set up, just feel amazing because the string doesn't move out the way. So yeah, it's amazing. Chalice Dungeons, absolutely, Sean. I did play through most of the Chalice Dungeons. I'm that sad. So these guitars are amazing for legato. So yes, I love this guitar a lot. So Alberto, how do you get that muting legato? The same way you get muted, palm muted anything on the guitar. So if you're going to palm mute chugs, not that you can chug on this guitar, you're just resting the karate chop part of the hand onto the strings next to the bridge. Well, if you keep the hand there and then do the legato. Yeah, the pickups in the AS103, they're obviously lower output. They're Super 58s, but I believe these are, they're not the Super 58s. Thank you, Stefano. They're not the same Super 58s you'll find in, say, the John Scofield signature guitar or the AS200. They're very similar, but I think someone in the chat might know. I think they're Indonesian made or Korean made, something like that. This guitar doesn't say where it's, maybe it does, made in China. So maybe they're Chinese. But the AS series, the higher end, in fact, all the AS series, all the Artstar series, especially the 103 and the, I forget what the newer one is called. So again, somebody in the chat might know. This level, so the sort of one below the Japanese guitars, they're staggering value for money. And these you can pick up on eBay for incredible prices. And they came with a hard case, incredible value. And they're so in tune, it's just amazing. Thank you, Ben Klassen. Lee Duxbury, I'm impressed you can play Dark Souls on a steering wheel. Did you see some guy completed Dark Souls using a Guitar Hero controller? These people are insane. I watch a lot of Lobos Jr. You guys should check him out. He's actually a good guitar player as well, but he's a Dark Souls streamer on Twitch. Well into Twitch. Yeah, 300 quid. This is actually David Beebe's old guitar. He was kind enough to give it to me, which was an incredible thing to do. So, but I used to have one of these. You'll find from back in the day. Oh, now that's a cool username, Ibanez270 Slayer. Thank you so much for subscribing. That's awesome. Yeah, I used to have one of these and I sold it to a buddy of mine when it wasn't getting as much use, and I've still got the Fibonacci hollow body, which is an amazing guitar, the Carina one, which I play quite a bit as well. So it wasn't getting that much use, and then David had one and I was just missing it like crazy. So yeah, I'm using the analog outs on the, I presume, PT, you're talking about the Axe-Fx 3. I'm using the analog outs. That's going into Universal Audio Apollo Twin, which is going into the SSL desk, well, channel strip. There's nothing else happening there at all. Fabio, thank you very much. Please make a video lesson legato slowly for beginner. And Dini, if you go to my website here, tomquayle.co.uk, you will find Legato Part 1. Let me say that again. You'll find Modern Legato Part 1, and that is the one to go for, even if you're a beginner, because it really takes you through the fundamentals of the technique and what you need to know. You can also go to licklibrary.com. Thanks to all of you guys who are subscribing, by the way, on Twitch and YouTube. Yeah, man, Bloodborne, Matsiati was so hard. If you go to licklibrary.com, I'm going to have to disable that sound. Sorry, guys. I'll do that on the next stream, I promise. If you go to licklibrary.com, you'll find my absolute beginner's legato lesson course on DVD or streaming that you can get as well. So just type in Tom Quayle on there. Runners High 75. By the way, I'm just picking chat out at random here, guys. So if you desperately want your question answered, because there's so much going on here, please feel free to super chat it. You don't have to at all. I'll try and get around to some more questions, but I'm just seeing these and randomly picking them. So sorry about that. So what was that question? Can you give good advice for starting sweep picking? It's so difficult. Dude, I am the worst sweep picker in the world. It is my complete nemesis. Pick right-hand techniques in general are not my forte at all. I can do a little bit, but nothing spectacular. What I would say is you absolutely want good note separation. So what you want to do is, one of the things you could do actually, and this relates to left-hand stuff, is let's say you were going to sweep, I don't know, let's take this arpeggio here. Something really simple. Just an F major 3-note arpeggio, where you were going to go down, 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 up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Okay, or even just the downs. So you want the note separation. So rather than holding the notes down as a chord, you want to separate those notes and lift after every single note. One way you could practice that is basically mute the strings behind your left hand and then keep all the fingers in contact with the string and just practice putting the pressure down individually, releasing it on each note. Thanks, George. That's very kind of you, subscribing there. Guitar Time too. All you guys on Twitch, thank you so much for subscribing. That's very cool, or following. So if you basically put the pressure down, and then release. I'm doing it with the third finger. Then do the same thing with the second finger, release, first finger, release. So you're never losing contact with the string. You're just putting the pressure down on the finger that requires it, because you must make sure you do that. So yeah, thank you, Guitar Time, for subscribing. So when I play this phrase, you can hear I'm not a very good sweep picker. There's a reason I stick to legato. All the notes are separate. Okay, so and that's because I'm basically lifting off after every single note. Okay, so Tanmay, what should I expect from your channel? I'm a new subscriber. Well, first of all, thank you very much. Secondly, I'm going to be doing lots of live stream and tuition stuff over the coming months. Lots of playing as well. And if you don't know me, I'm kind of a jazz and fusion guy. Do lots of legato stuff, kind of known for legato and playing over chord changes. So yeah, you'll see lots of that stuff going on, lots of tuition stuff. Is Martin Miller filming you? No, he's not. Room looks amazing. Thank you very much. And Frederick, you want me to talk about this live stream setup? Basically, I'm using a Sony a7 III camera with a Sigma 24mm f1.4 lens, stocked to about 2 f2, and then that's going into an Legato capture card, an HD60S, and all the audio is basically direct into my PC down here. I've got Universal Audio Apollo Twin. And that's it, basically. And yeah, simple as that. All the graphics and stuff are just done through OBS. Very simple. My XFX 3 presets are just all the standard, they're just the factory presets. I don't do anything different. I don't do any different presets at all. This is just the Superverb. The other one was the Friedman. I haven't done anything except on the original preset on the for the Friedman, the delay is bypassed. I've just unbypassed it. Let me switch back to the TQM1. Right. So, what else do you guys want to know? Let me go back to the Friedman sound. Yeah, that is just a factory preset, guys. I've not done anything different to it at all. Nothing at all. Thanks to you guys who are following. Okay, any tips on outside notes would be sweet. Wes, sorry guys, I'm just kind of picking these at random. It's really hard to kind of keep up with everything. So Wes, any tips on outside notes would be sweet. Yeah, sure, dude, no problem. So I would think of the way I always teach people to play outside, you know, if they're not familiar with playing outside generally, is to think of it as a rhythmic concept. I'll try and do this with a backing track if I can find one. Think about it like, and some of you guys, if you've seen a few of my tuition things, will have seen this come up before. Think of it like a drummer playing a drum fill. So if you think about where does a drummer play a fill, they play a fill usually in a rhythmically kind of tense part of the bar that would then resolve. So I'm just going to close Stylus Rmx down. So to give you an example, a drummer might play a drum fill every 16 bars or even every 4 bars at a very slow tempo. But it's usually at the end of a sensible, coherent amount of time. And it's like a tension and release device. So you can think the same way. I'm just going to spin around here and see if I can find a backing track for you guys. You can think the same way when you're playing. Let's have a look. Oh, actually, maybe in here I've got everything is new on this machine because I've just rebuilt it. Okay, what are you? That will do nicely. So that track is in D minor. Now what you can do, that track does have some chord changes in as well, but if you've got a section of harmony that is sort of static like this. Oh, thank you very much, Troshan. That's very, very kind of you indeed. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate the donation. And Tom's Rockhouse as well. Thank you so much, dude. Very, very kind indeed. In this instance, what you can do is you can utilize that concept of a drum fill and you can pretty much play anything. So think about a drum fill. The drummer goes from playing a groove that might be on the snare and the kick drum and the hi-hat, or maybe the right kick drum and the snare. Yeah, again, thanks Tom's Rockhouse. That's awesome. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate that. And again, Trollshian as well. Think about when they change for the drum fill, they can utilize the entire kit and they've got the entire kit and it's up to their discretion as to what they play. Now, the same thing goes for you guys when you're playing outside. You can pick absolutely anything and the further away it is from the harmonic device you were on originally, the better. So for instance, what you see guys do an awful lot is they will play a semitone higher than they were originally and then go back. So it's called sidestepping. Now, if I'm in D minor here, let's think about that structure of the harmony. So if that D minor lasts for 4 bars, in the 4th bar is the place that the drummer might do a drum fill. So the 4th bar is the place that I might start to play out. And I can pretty much play anything I like. But the drummer always resolves rhythmically back onto beat 1 of the following 4 bar or 8 bar or 16 bar phrase. The drum fill never or very rarely lasts into the next bar or the next cycle of 8 bars or 4 bars or 16 bars if we're dealing with standard kind of music. Now you want to do the same thing. You want to make sure you resolve when you get back to beat 1 of the next 4 bar or 8 bar or 16 bar phrase. Okay, so do I have something even simpler than this? This probably work, but no, you're too slow. Let's try it with this. So I'll let you listen to this first. Now what I'm going to do, you could hear that D minor lasted for quite a while. That gives me quite a lot of opportunities to play outside. So I could take the first 2 bars, because that D, each bar it's like, so you got dagga dum 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 dagga da down 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 ba dagga 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 dum 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 dagga da down down down. There would be an awesome place to play out, because it's a little bit like the drummer might put a drum fill in there. In fact, if I listen to it, I probably didn't, because I used Stylus Rmx for this, put any drum fills in. Let me see. Yeah, there was. There was a very small drum fill in there, just a slightly different element to the groove. So it'd be a great place to play out. And it doesn't give you very long, but that's good because it means that you don't have to worry too much about this difficulty that a lot of people have in terms of keeping the phrase going. So you could do something like this. All I'm going to do is I'm going to play in D Dorian. And then when we get to that little part of the bar where that little drum fill is, I'm just going to play out a little bit by stepping up a semitone. Now, if you're not good at phrasing with 7-note scales, just do this with the minor pentatonic. So D minor pentatonic and then E flat minor pentatonic. And make sure on beat 1 of the next bar, you resolve back to D minor. Now, I can't play and talk at the same time because of the way I've got my thing set up, the live stream. But you'll hopefully hear what I'll do this a few times. Christopher, thank you so much, dude. Very kind. Okay, so that gives you some idea. So you could hear, hopefully, when I was sidestepping, I didn't do it a lot. You don't want to do outside playing too much. It just gets annoying, especially on this kind of a groove. You can get away with it a lot more in a trio setting where you've just got a bass player and a drummer because your harmonic freedom is a lot more free, if you like. But in this instance, because there's very specific kind of parts going on underneath with the guitars, that's cool. Solo offs, that'd be amazingly. So yeah, the idea is that just a little bit here and a little bit there, like a dusting basically of that stuff is all you need. And what it does is it pricks the listener's ear up and it creates a sense of tension and release, which is exactly what a drum fill is doing. That's the entire reason for a drum fill. Just gonna have a swig of this rather lovely Arbor whiskey. Oh, thank you very much, Thomas McGill. Yeah, man, Rick. Tanmay, Rick is amazing at this stuff. Rick and I used to jam all the time, and we would throw this stuff back and forth at each other. Rick used to terrify me because Rick could play over jazz standards that he'd never played over before, that were really hard, and not even look at the changes and still be able to play over them. It's terrifying. What is that thing below the Axe FX3? It's that load box. There's two load boxes. There's a Universal Audio aux, and there's the Boss tube amp, Waza tube amp expander. What I will do on the next live stream, which is not going to be next week because I'm doing Guitar Retreat Spain, so I'm in Malaga doing a guitar retreat for a week. I will utilize both of these in the next stream so you guys can hear them. And we'll use this Friedman, there's a Dirty Shirley Mini, and I also have a Laney Lionheart just here, which is out of shot. You guys can't see it because it's too big to fit in this part of the studio. There's a Laney Lionheart. I've got a few different amps here I could use. There's a Laney Lionheart, there's a Laney SLS. There is also an Ironheart here. I've got an old Cornford Carrera just here. There's the Friedman Dirty Shirley. I love amps, so got a few things we can try. Thank you very much for the donation. Andy Racks the Cams, best thing on at the moment. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate that. What mixer do I have my whiskey? I don't, I'm drinking it neat. So cheers, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Very kind of you. It's nice to be here with you guys. What PC monitor is that? This is a Philips Momentum 43-inch HDR monitor because I'm into my gaming. Useless for video editing, which is why I've got that one over there, which is a Dell ultra-wide 32-inch monitor with very high color accuracy. And then over here, which you guys can't see, all hooked up to the same computer, is a Samsung 4K monitor. And this is doing all my chat and stuff, which again, you guys can't see. So it looks like Star Trek over here. It's nuts. And then of course, if you're into, if you're into gaming and guitar generally, you have to have color changing LEDs going on in the background as well. Always nice. Love it. Can't get enough of that. You can probably see LED keyboards going on. There's another one over there behind the steering wheel, which you guys can't see. I love all that stuff. I'm super into it. And then again, the gaming PC. Well, I say it's not a gaming PC. This is my video editing rig. And the parts that you use for gaming and video editing are basically the same. So yeah, dude, that's what's going on there. Very, very cool indeed. Somewhat Canadian. Thank you so much for following. And I have to say, I love this, the Axe FX3, still absolutely loving this thing. It's absolutely incredible. Why do you like so much the Lionheart, Paolo? And again, if you're just joining, guys, sorry, I'm just randomly picking stuff from the chat here. It's just too hard to keep up with answering everything, unfortunately. And again, if you really want your question answered, you can do the super chat thing. So feel free to do that. Jens, I didn't see that. Guitar Time. Nice to see you, Jens. Hope you're doing well. That YouTube channel is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's amazing. If you don't know Jens, go and check out his YouTube channel, Jens Larsen. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Unless Guitar Time is Jens from Guitar Retreat Spain. It could be Jens from Guitar Retreat Spain, in which case, howdy. You didn't say which Jens you were. Anyway, go and check out Jens Larsen. Also check out Jens's YouTube channel as well. It's very cool. Stick your YouTube channel in the chat, Jens, whichever one you are. Simon X, thank you very much. Your phrasing is insane, but bro, you've got to do something about my what? You haven't written what you want me to do something about. Maybe it's probably the beard. People always talk about that. Some tips for picking, Kai. Man, again, it's like the sweep picking thing. Picking is not my forte at all. I have really bad, I don't have really bad picking technique because I can pick. I spent hours as a kid going, I can't do it. I can't play that at all. All those John Petrucci exercises. Picking is not my forte, which is why I play legato. A lot like a lot of the legato players out there. Someone mentioned Francis Dunnery earlier on, Brett Garsed. These guys, you know, Alan Holdsworth, Alan Hines, they're not known for their picking. Most of us guys, we get into the legato thing because we find the picking thing doesn't work for us. So yeah, that's picking is not my forte. If you want picking advice, go to Martin Miller, Andy Wood, Troy Grady. These are the guys that you want to go for picking advice. I'm not going to give you advice on things I'm not good at. Marshall Harrison, best legato in the world. That guy is insane. Absolutely insane. Amazing, amazing technique. Ridiculous. Cool to see the Sony camera isn't overheating. Used to be an issue. There's two modes on the A7 III. If you leave it in the original mode, hi Conrad, thanks for watching on Twitch. If you use it in the original mode, the default mode, it does overheat and it will just cut off. In this mode, there's a high mode and it doesn't overheat, which is good obviously for this. Although the camera's not recording, all the capture is coming from the PC, so the camera's not actually doing anything particularly good. Alex, I'm not worried. Don't worry about it. I'd have shaved it off years ago if I was worried about what other people thought about it. I couldn't care less. Yeah, Holdsworth, what a legend. Unbelievable. I actually did an interview in Singapore recently for guitar.com. You guys probably know Guitar magazine, guitar.com. And I was listing my influences, highly, highly jet lagged, and forgot the man himself. And man, I have yet to live it down in the comments section. Just jet lag, just didn't think. When someone says, it's like when you walk into a record store and try and think, who do I listen to? It just didn't come up in my brain at that point. But obviously, Alan Holdsworth is like way up there, just ridiculous. Really devastated when he died, obviously. Were you in D-Dorian during the outside demo? Yes, Matt, I was. I was playing in D-Dorian. I'll play over it a little bit more in a second, and I'll do some more outside stuff. The best place to do outside stuff is on static vamps, to be honest. So that's a good track for playing outside on. But if you've got, I did have some really basic grooves with just one chord in, but I can't find them right now. I do have a track I can do this on though. Martin Miller's Rock the Funk track is a great example of this. I'll play over that. I always use this one to demonstrate it because it's basically got the same chord for ages. So I'll do a little bit more playing over that track. Glad you're enjoying the tone. Micaiah, I can't pronounce your name. Micaiah, thank you so much. Oh God, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that really badly. It's all the XFX3, just the basic Friedman BE100 preset. So, okay, Luca, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you practice or did you practice? I don't think that's come up on your screen yet. There we go. Do you practice or did you long lines or small bits? I mean, your 16th note triplet long legato ones are made of small little pieces or born as long lines. Okay, that's a really good question. And I can demonstrate that on this track as well. The way I developed the ability to play longer lines is by taking the process of improvisation and slowing it right down. So what I mean by that is I would practice taking exactly the same technical approach as I would take if I was playing faster, higher subdivisions or higher tempos, and I would play and improvise lines. So what I find if I say to people improvise lines slowly with real mental processes going on behind the note choices and the direction of the line, is that they don't keep the technique the same as it would be if they were playing faster. So they might pick everything, or they might do some vibrato, or they might do phrases that are not practical, things that you couldn't actually play if you were playing up to a higher subdivision or tempo. I will keep everything the same. So an example of that in C Dorian, because that's what I'm about to play over, would be like this. Now, ignore the vibrato I put in at the end. If you saw any vibrato, which I did once actually, don't do any of that. I'm not concentrating quite how I should be. I'm very tired. That is horrible to listen to because it's incredibly slow, but it's a very valuable process to go through when you're improvising or learning to improvise, because what it's going to do is it's going to give you tons of different pathways that you can manipulate to move around that scale at high subdivisions and high tempos. Because what you find is that the higher the subdivision you play, the larger your note density, so the more notes you have to be able to play. And if you're not relying on very specific pre-programmed licks, which I'm not, although obviously I repeat myself quite a lot, you need to be able to manipulate the fretboard quickly and think and see the fretboard quickly. So you need lots of different pathways through the same harmonic information. And by practicing very slowly like that and keeping everything the same technically, so no vibrato, make sure the dynamic range is low, because that's what I'm going for here. Make sure you're using hybrid picking when you want to be using hybrid picking. Make sure you're not doing big jumps that you couldn't do when you were playing faster. What you'll find is that you can slowly start to develop longer phrases and lines without running out of fretboard or running out of steam or running out of stamina. So again, I'll try and demonstrate that over this track. You guys can get this track I'm about to play over to demonstrate both outside playing and these longer lines from Jam Track Central by buying, I think it's definitely Martin Miller's backing track. I'm not sure which package it's in, but you guys can find it's called Rock the Funk. It's just something I play over all the time, so I hope you guys enjoy this. Make sure that doesn't play again. It's such a fun backing track to play over. Glad you guys enjoyed that. Some nice things from you guys. It's very nice of you. Thank you very much. I like that. You never really play above the 12th fret. And I hadn't even considered at that point. That actually, that's a really cool thing, because you pointing that out to me, Sam, made me completely reconsider the way I was playing and suddenly utilize part of the fretboard I wasn't even thinking about at the time. So you changed my thought process. So thank you very much for that. That's very cool indeed. So, Tom, if time is right, will there be another outstanding... We can't even talk about that, John. Illegal information. So we will see. Okay, Matteo, any suggestions for not letting practice guilt get you down? Wow. If I ever stop practicing for a few days, I always feel terrible and like starting from zero. Yeah, me too, dude. I think that's normal. Practice guilt is, whenever you do anything you really care about like that, I think that's going to happen. And that just shows that you really care about it, for the first thing. You know, that's just part of who you are as a person, and it's always going to be that way. But you shouldn't feel so guilty about it. I mean, you can't do, it's not healthy to do this all the time. Hence the fact I have this in here and, like, you know, where is it? I don't even know where I've put it. There's an Xbox controller in here, and thank you, Danielle. Very nice of you. You know, I do quite a bit of gaming. I have the camera gear. I shoot tons of videos for a living as well as playing guitar. So you've got to have a varied set of things that you do. And then now, every now and again, if not on a fairly regular basis, you're allowed to do nothing. You don't have to do anything. You know, it's your life. You know, it's up to you, really. You don't have to be achieving 100% all the time. So yeah, that would be my kind of point of that. Guys on Twitch, Flight RO, thank you very much. Glad you're enjoying the quality. Yeah, I can play. Oh, thank you very much. I'm Style Gnocchi. That's very cool of you. You guys on YouTube and Twitch, you should be able to see each other's chat over here. I'm not sure if the Twitch chat shows up or not, so fingers crossed it does as well. Obviously, there's way less people watching on Twitch. Yeah, the return of the Guitar Hour, Stacey, that would be cool, except the Guitar Hour now has really turned into a podcast, because for two reasons. The Guitar Hour was great, it was really, really cool, but to get all four of us in a room at the same time just started to prove impossible. It's really, really difficult. And to do it regularly with seasons like we were doing was very, very hard indeed. So you might get a Guitar Hour show every now and again. Dan has become so busy, it's very hard for him to commit to the podcast even. So now Jake Wilson and I have taken over the podcast with David Beebe. But that's regular. The podcast is, if you guys haven't checked it out, check out the Guitar Hour podcast. You bought your Sir because of me. That's cool. Thank you very much. What did you buy? Which one? Very cool guitars, obviously. You had a nice break from these last couple of weeks. Overwatch was made good again. I've never played Overwatch. What's Twitch? Twitch is the ultimate gamers streaming platform, and it's big, big for musicians as well. Quite a lot of well-known people stream on there. So Matt Heafy from Trivium is on there. Herman Lee streams on there fairly regularly. You guys all know who Herman Lee is. Very cool. You should check out Twitch. It's twitch.tv, and you can watch the stream on there as well. It used to be that Twitch was higher quality than YouTube, but that's not so much the case now. Shane, hi Tom, I have your AZ guitar. Please compare Fender Twin Reverb, Ironheart and Lionheart for the pedal platform. Most of the time I use the AX8 with no cab and amps in on stage. So the Twin Reverb as a pedal platform is fine, but the Twin Reverb is super mid-scooped, and I tend to avoid them if I can. I have used them in the past and they've been fine. I've done a couple of masterclasses with them, or clinics. Not such a big fan. I would prefer a deluxe reverb. The Lionheart is amazing as a pedal platform. It's basically a very high-end boutique sound in a slightly more affordable amp. It's still not affordable. You know, it's over £1,000 for the bigger Lionhearts. You know, the 20-watt heads and the combos and the 50-watt head. But they're amazing, amazing sounding for what they are. Really, really incredible. So the Lionheart is also a very good pedal platform. It's surprising how good the Lionheart is as a pedal platform, considering it's not really all about the clean channel. It's about that amazing amount of gain. But I've done jazz gigs with the Lionheart and been staggered by how good it is. Martin Miller and I've done gigs with the Ironhearts, and they sound amazing for all sorts of different sounds, because it's a very clean, transparent, clean on that channel. Thanks, Alan Kyle, for subscribing. Yeah, so guys, Guitar Hour Season 6. No, not for a season, no. Maybe the odd episode, but check out the podcast. That's out every week on a Thursday. We have amazing guests on board as well. It's me, Jake Wilson, and David Beebe doing the podcast. So you bought a modern custom with Aldrich Humbuckers HSH spalted maple. Man, I bet that's a pretty guitar. Very pretty. Favorite note on the guitar. My favorite chord. Classic. I always get stuck in the key of G at the moment. I think I can't even play it. I like all that kind of I'm into that the G thing. When you got into scales from Rmx, should you advise to practice 3 notes per string? You should practice everything. You should practice, let me go to a clean sound. You should practice I keep changing the preset. You should practice 3 notes per string. You should practice starting the scale from every single finger, so. You should practice cage shapes. You should practice interval-based ideas. You should practice from the root. Practice playing from the 3rd. Practice playing from the 5th. Practice playing from the 7th. Like G major from the 7th. So you might go, or from the 3rd. You should practice every way of playing scales possible. You should practice in 3rd, 4th. Sorry, I'm doing Lydian. You should practice in 5th. So on and so forth. Just do every single way you can possibly think of playing through a scale. I'm trying to do that fast, but what was that question? My monitor's dying again. Do you use your signature pedal since you use the XFX3? I do indeed. It's down here. I don't know if you guys can see it. Probably not. It's hooked up to my board just here. No, you can't. It's behind the alert window. Yeah, it's hooked up down there with the pedal board that Daniel Steinhardt built me. It basically is not being used at the moment because in order for me to use, it's easier just to use the XFX3 for the streams and for some recording. I did some session work for another guitar player this week and I used the XFX3 for that because it's so convenient. But now having the tube amp expander and the aux, the Friedman and the Lionheart are set up. The Lionheart goes into the aux, the Friedman goes into the tube amp expander because what I've found is, for you guys who might be interested, the aux is better, well not better, it's not better at all, forget that. The aux is more refined for vintagey kind of amp sounds and the Boss is more refined for higher gain, kind of more modern sounds, which obviously is through Friedman. So the Lionheart is hooked up through the aux for those kind of slightly more vintagey sounds. The tube amp expander, guys, is mind-blowingly good. It's incredible, absolutely amazing. Yeah, so that's kind of the way I've got everything set up, and still use the dual fusion a huge amount. It's an amazing pedal. I take it on tour with me every time I go away because it's such a great sound. I absolutely love it still. It's basically my sound, which is awesome. Have you tried any DV Mark amps? No, I haven't actually. I'm intrigued by them because Greg Howe obviously has a signature, I believe, and also Eric Gales, which, like, whenever I've met, seen, hung out with Eric Gales, which I've been lucky enough to do, he's always been playing through incredibly loud 2-rocks. And then to see him playing this tiny DV Mark, and I've heard him play through it, and it was absolutely incredible. And that guy has some of the best tone I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely ridiculous. So yes. Tan, are you a Mark Lettieri fan? Of course, Mark and I are good buddies. We chat quite a bit on Messenger and, on video chat and stuff. So constantly interested in what Mark's doing. Mark is one of my, in fact, I've been a Mark Lettieri fan since his first solo album, which was called Nose, I think. A lot of people haven't checked out his early solo work. You guys should. There's a couple of albums that are absolutely incredible. A lot of people know him for his modern well, not modern, obviously all of it's modern, but the latest kind of baritone stuff and the funk stuff on Instagram, and obviously Snarky Puppy. But prior to a lot of that, there were a couple of solo albums which are absolutely staggeringly good, absolutely amazing. Danielle Ika, what drill you use when it comes to getting all your scales in shape over a particular progression, chord changes and all? I'm not sure entirely what you mean, but when it comes to getting all your scales in shape over a particular progression. Okay, right. Well, again, something I mentioned before, I don't do it so much these days because the fretboard is fairly intuitive for me now. But what I used to do, is I would work through. There we go. I would work through a particular progression, playing scales from every single finger through one octave. So from my first, second, and third and fourth finger, because you tend to get the same shape from the third and fourth, starting on the root, the third, the fifth, and then the seventh. So if you take something like Stella by Starlight, I would play every single scale starting from the first finger through one octave, starting from the root. Oh, sorry, first finger. So on and so forth. Then I would do the same thing starting from the second finger. And if you do the second finger and then the third and fourth finger, do that all over the fretboard. Then do the same thing starting from the third for every single scale, starting from the first finger, the second finger, and the third and fourth finger. Then do the same thing starting from the fifth, first finger, second finger, third and fourth finger. Then do the same thing starting from the seventh. If you can do that, you will not get lost on the fretboard anywhere if you're thinking scale shapes. And then you'll find you can play over the fretboard without worrying too much about where you are. Okay, so guys, how long have I been streaming? Quite a while, I think. Let me just turn off, let's have a look. This button down here. It doesn't even tell me. I don't know how long I've been streaming. Oh, well, never mind. I'm going to have to go, guys. It's getting ridiculously hot in here, and I've got lots and lots of things to do for Guitar Retreat Spain, and I'm running out of whiskey as well. So as usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. A few quick things. Thank you to everybody who donated and everybody who did Super Chat. I really, really appreciate that. If you guys want to donate, you can click the donate button below to support what I do. I'm going to be doing a live stream every single week except when I'm away, and I am away next week, so I can't do a live stream. Oh, awesome, Christopher. Glad you enjoyed the guitar. I'm sorry I couldn't get around to answering all the questions, guys. I will try and do more questions in the next stream, but obviously if you want to get your question answered, you can always use the Super Chat. That's what that's there for. And I will always answer the Super Chat questions because they pop up massive on the screen. Thanks to the guys watching on Twitch. Thanks to the guys watching on YouTube. Thanks to everyone who subscribed. Thanks to everyone who donated. A quick thing, if you check out to my, what would it be? It would be to my left, to the right of the screen. These are all the things. So you've got Facebook up there, follow me on there. You've got Instagram, Tom Quayle Guitar. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be uploading more on there as well. Twitter, don't do too much on Twitter. You can follow me on there as well. And then obviously if you're on the YouTube channel, you know it's TQ105 down there. And make sure that you hit the bell notification icon. So every time I go live, you'll get a notification. And subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to do lots more content as well. You can also check out my stuff on the Dawson's YouTube channel as well. I do lots of product reviews on that as well. And yeah, I'm not going to be here next week, as I say, because I'm in Guitar Retreat Spain. Maybe we'll do, depending on the internet, might do a live stream from Guitar Retreat Spain, so you guys can meet some of the guys who are there. There's some great players there. It's an event I do every year, sometimes twice a year in Malaga in Spain. It's just a small guitar camp, a very intimate guitar camp where we get 5 guys over. You know, people pay to come and have a lesson. I teach for a week, basically. So if you've been interested in this, keep an eye out maybe for next year. I've also got some huge announcements coming up, huge announcements coming up. I'm not sure when I can tell you about them. One in particular is absolutely awesome, a dream come true for me. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next stream. Make sure you, again, subscribe, and yeah, see you soon, guys. Thank you very much indeed. Bye-bye.